explaining to me, I'm pretty young, they're explaining to me what happened, that he was like, you guys don't want me to fucking whatever, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Oh, great.
And then he goes into the bathroom and he shoots a gun and then does a pratfall.
No. Get out of town. He's squirting ketchup under the door.
Shoots the shoots the gun. And then you like hear the thing and they're all like, oh God, daddy's dead. Daddy's dead.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Isaac Abrams Show. I am your host, Isaac Abrams. Today's very special guest, writer, comedian, podcaster, and philanthropist, Mr. Bruce Gray with an A.
Hello. Good to be here. Thanks, Isaac.
Thank you for coming.
Hey, anytime.
Let's plug it.
But, you know.
Okay. Welcome back to the Isaac and Bruce Show, where we're coming at you live daily at noon.
Yeah. Doing remotes. I'll be at home in bed and be like, Isaac, oh, come on.
Somebody you don't know just takes you up on like a random euphemism. You're like, anytime, pal. You're like, really?
You're my new best friend.
Let's plug everything you got on the internet and all your podcasts.
Bag Fries Podcast with me and my pal Kevin Tinkin every Monday, and Fat Jocks Podcast with me and my friend Brian Vokey. It's a niche sports podcast, and it comes out whenever the hell I feel like it.
We should also say Brian Vokey was on the show.
Brian Vokey from the show?
I think it was in the 70s. It was like 8 or 9 episodes ago.
I thought you meant like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, you just said you have been podcasting for a long time. I didn't know you were the original podcaster.
I am the godfather of podcasting.
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Rogan owes me everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I taught him everything he knows. And then did you drop your grams?
Oh, at Bruce Gray on Instagram. Twitter is at Bruce Gray Live, but you don't have to go over there. BruceGrayComedy.com for everything else.
And that's Gray with an A.
Gray with an A. Don't hit me with that E bullshit.
Get that E garbage out of here.
Fuck that. Me and other Bruce Gray, which is actually pretty cool. There's 2 other Bruce Grays that are more public people. One of them was an actor from My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
The old guy.
He died.
Fuck that guy.
Get out of here, Canadian, you Canadian bastard. And then there's this sculptor, Bruce Gray, who I've gone into a few tiffs with online over usernames and stuff like that.
What is it with sculptors?
He's a weird guy.
Because the other Isaac Abrams
is a sculptor.
Fucking sculptor.
Yeah, the Bruce Gray, the sculptor. Fuck him.
Give me my website.
Yeah,
and my Instagram.
And he had this hilarious. I think it was a video where like it looked like he was on almost like on an older version of that dating show Next. Remember that? Just where it says like Bruce Gray, and then he has these like glasses on and like this weird bandana.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I used that as my profile picture on something. And so it was like I just looked, and then he like messaged me, he's like, "Why are you using my picture?" And I was like, "Dude, shut the fuck up! Let's go sculpt something, you piece of shit.
Sculpt this.
Yeah, get out of here."
Oh man, yeah, it's weird because I just changed my name.
Changed it.
Yeah, I have a real last name. This is a fake one. This is half my middle name.
Oh, what's your real? Oh, you don't want to know.
Oh, I say it on the show all the time, and I said it in the whole first season. My real last name is Heckert, but my middle name is Abraham, so I just changed it to Isaac Abrams.
That's pretty sweet. It's a good idea.
It just sounds better, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for this business.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Brother of JJ.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I should say. Yeah, you should start a big tiff and be like, my brother's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he puts too many flares in his Star Trek movies.
Yeah, you can eat shit.
Yeah. I was joking on another episode about like accidentally getting a call from Marvel and being like, "Hey, your brother's unavailable. We want you to direct the next Marvel movie." Like, okay.
Well, you know that actually happened to a Comedy Central thing. They were doing a taping, and 2 guys had the same name, and they contacted the wrong comedian.
I've heard about this. Yeah. Oh, who was that?
I think his name was Josh Johnson.
Oh,
I believe so. It might be that, but they called the wrong guy, and then he showed up, and they were like, "Hey, what's up?" And they were like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
So I believe they maybe would have, or they look very different. I think they're 2 different races.
Yeah. Somebody was definitely telling me about that before, and it was like a big FUBAR, and the whole show was ruined. Yeah. Because they wanted that guy to host.
I don't quite remember the details, but I do remember that it was the wrong guy.
Yeah.
But I've also, I get, I don't know how much it's happened to him, but it's happened to me quite a bit that people have thought I was Simon Gibson.
Oh,
who is one of my very good friends. But it has happened. I've been called, even recently, a person I've talked to many times. I was doing a show a few weeks ago, and they were like, "Simon, when are you up?" And I went, 4th. I was just like, I'm not gonna. Yeah. I don't give enough of a shit to be like, "Hey, actually, I'm like, we're gonna talk here, and then I'll see you in
Yeah.
2 months and we'll talk again for 5 seconds. How's the crowd? This and that. We're not friends. I don't even really like you that much. So I don't even care. But do
you ever walk to the stage when they call for Simon?
No, not that. But it's like Simon, he's my very good friend. Like we have done a million things together. But the worst was whenever I was first like showcasing to work at the Comedy Store, and it's a whole fucking thing. It's kind of a nightmare. Especially it took me like almost 2 years of like multiple showcases. And the worst was I went up the week before, and the guy at the time, Adam Egget, was like, "God, great, good, wonderful, love it. Come back next week, and we'll do like the official thing." And I was like, "Awesome." Living high.
Yeah.
Like things are fine now, but back then things were I was working at a deli. I hated everybody. It was awful, but I was like, this is good. And so but that was the week that, so also Simon had gone up, I believe, right after me on that show. And that was Monday. And then on that Thursday was the day that Brody Stevens had died.
Oh,
and they they knew each other for a very long time. Like they were very, very close.
Yeah.
And then I come back there the next Monday and it's real somber. And I walk in and I'm like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he goes like, "Hey," like the way you would say hi to a bus driver, and they would say hi back to you.
Yeah. So
"Hey, what's up?" And I was like,
"This is Adam you're talking about?"
Yeah. And who's a great guy. I love Adam. And he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "How's it going?" And he's like,
"How do you think it's fucking going?"
And I was like, "Hey, okay." And then he was like, or I told him, I was like, "Yeah, you had told me to come back." And he goes, like looks up, like, you know, when you're trying to think and you look up to and he goes, "Did I tell you to come back?" And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, "Oh yeah, you're the guy who does the Frank Sinatra bit." And I was like, I just looked at him and I said, "No, that's Simon Gibson."
Oh no.
And then he goes, "All right, yeah, go check in." And then I bought one of the worst sets probably I've ever had in my entire life, because I was like, "Nobody wants me here."
Oh
yeah.
And it's such an intimidating place to be in the first place.
Absolutely.
I just met Adam at Skankfest 2 weeks ago.
It really helped me out.
And I decided, I saw him and I was in the green room and I shouldn't have been there. I was just a guest of another comic. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to act like I've met him 1,000 times because he meets too many people. I had a great chat. He was like, "Good to see you." And I didn't go, "Nice to meet you."
Got kind of a similar vibe.
A little bit.
He's definitely quieter. He's like, "Yeah, man, it's good. Yeah, good to see you again, man."
Yeah, he was rocked.
Fuck yeah,
super. I mean, it was Skankfest.
Yeah,
everybody was rocked.
I don't know if it's come out or anything, but I'm surprised nobody died
at Skankfest.
Yeah.
Oh,
did they?
I mean,
is that am I? I just hearing it once I were like Skankfest Vegas, I was like, "Oh yeah, somebody's gonna die."
Was it the first year in Vegas?
Yeah. I think they've done it like New York and Houston, whatever.
Yeah. Man, I don't know how much I can talk about how close people came to dying and what I saw, but let's just say I agree with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, last time I was in Vegas, somebody died. A guy died. It wasn't like it was my friend. Like, yeah, my best buddy.
I've heard this story.
Oh, the guy who jumped off the thing.
The bing.
The guy fucking pinballed off the thing.
Yes.
It was crazy.
Yeah. I wanted to get your version of that
Sunday
story.
morning.
Yeah. Because you were headed to White Castle.
I was headed to White Castle. Okay, this is good now.
That White Castle clip blew up my YouTube channel.
Did it really?
Yeah, it got 15,000 plays.
That's hilarious.
Which is a lot for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's 15,000. That's
a lot.
Shake a stick at.
Yeah, I actually put your picture in that clip.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Because we were both referencing Bruce.
Oh, I see.
And we mentioned you early. We gave you a shout out on the show.
Yeah.
But then I wanted people to see your face. So every time we said Bruce, I'll show you the clip after this.
Fuck yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Very long story short. There was like a whole thing going on. And in my head, it was like I thought there was like going to be like a shootout or something with all the stuff going on. And then some lady was like, "No, there's a guy who jumped off the thing and he's stuck on that part of the fucking It was on the the big zip line.
Yeah.
He climbed up the zip line and then fucking called it. And then he would ding.
It's like when people jump off the diving board, but then they like slip and they just land on the diving board and they like stuck up in the air.
Yeah. I actually I saw that happen to a friend of mine's brother whenever I was younger. It was the day after 8th grade, and it was the first time I ever smoked pot.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a great day. Smoked pot, ate in and out, went to the movies and saw Knocked Up.
Wow.
It was great. Came home, smoked more weed. We watched Grandma's Bowl. It was a real nice thing. But his brother is a big Latino dude, and he tried to do a backflip off the diving board and just fucking rocked his fucking thing, and then like broke like 3 of his ribs. It was insane.
That's the worst.
He was providing all the good guy.
I'm going to change this camera real quick. We were on Vegas before I adjusted that camera.
Yes.
Do you go to Vegas a lot?
I went to whenever we went in May. That was the first time I'd been there just to go. I think since I was 21. But it's because I've been there like 3 times for shows, and we were talking about earlier. I was there with Theo.
Yeah.
And the shows were so good, and we were treated so well. Like, and everything's taken care of. You have like a concierge. You could just call and be like, hey, we want to do this, and they'll fucking just
whatever you want.
Yeah, we went to me and Ari Mans went to Carrot Top.
Oh, cool.
Have you ever gone to have you seen Carrot Top before?
No, I haven't, but I've seen him on podcasts.
Yeah.
And like that guy, he's fucking hilarious.
The live show is unbelievable.
And he resets it, like he turns it over a lot, right?
It was true. Like we because our show I think was at 10 or 10:30. We go to that show at 8:00 and we're like we go to a really, really nice steakhouse, fucking whatever, they it's all free. Yeah. And then we go over there and we were kind of like, we kind of did it halfway as a bit because we were like, oh, they said we can get tickets to anything in town. Let's go to Carrot Top.
Right.
Like, because we could have, gone to fucking Celine Dion or whatever. I don't know. I don't even, this is how to touch it. Celine Dion or,
I mean, so far you're 100%.
Yeah. We could have done that, but we were like, let's go to Carrot Top. And we kind of did it as a bit. And we both left there and we were like, that was amazing. We literally, I don't think I've ever seen any comedian get not only that many laughs, but that consistent. Like literally just because he has five trunks.
Yep.
And he just goes to the trunk and he's like, this is a thing. And he like pulls out the blind, like a blinds thing and does it crazy, unbelievable.
He's like the new school Amazing Jonathan.
Yeah. But it was so fucking good. We went and saw, because we were in the same theater, we went and saw Shin Lim, that magician. He's a magician guy. He does.
Really?
He had a guy opening for him named Colin Cloud, who's like a mentalist. He's a freak. But he...
those guys are insane.
And it's one of those things where you're like, there's got to be some kind of trick. But he was like, he would like grab a teddy bear and like throw it into the crowd and be like, throw that 10 times. And it would land on somebody and he would be like, Jeff, how's it going? And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, how was your flight this morning? And he's like, good. He's like, how was visibility? And he's like, what? And then this guy there, he's like, tell him what you do. He's like, I'm a pilot. And it's like weird shit like that. And it's like, I'm not like a religious guy, but it felt very heathenistic to me. And I was like, there's something going on.
Yeah.
But even hung with that guy for a little bit. And then weirder, like 2 months after that, I was on stage at the Comedy Store. And I'm like in the middle of my set. And then like in the third row, I like lock eyes with that guy. And I was like, you're that guy. And he was like, no. And I was like, no, you are. And he
started doing mentalism on
it kind of got weird because I was like, don't fuck. And then I like, there was like a lull in the set, and I turned around him and I was like, stop doing that. I was like having a fucking half of a meltdown. Yeah, I should have told you I'm a loud person.
No, you're all good.
But it started like, I was like, I don't want you to do.
You should have mentalized him, like, your name's Brad, and you work in Vegas.
100%. I actually did that a few weeks ago a little bit because I was doing a show and there was these guys like hanging on this top thing. And I was like, you fucking cheap bastards, you're watching the show for free. And then I was hosting the show. And I was like, what do you do? He's like, I'm in a band. And I was like, what do you play? And he told me. And I was like, what's the band called? And he told me. So then after every comedian, I would just go backstage and find out information about this guy. And I would be like, so how do you think you were feeling on April 29th, 2019? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, seems like you were having a bad day. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, actually on Facebook you wrote, doesn't matter how hard you fall, it matters when you get back up. And he was like, what the fuck is going on?
So don't fall off the fence.
Yeah, so then I like kept making fun of him like the entire thing. And then it was an outdoor thing and there was like the little like green room area behind the stage and there was a gate to the alley. And then they left and I was like, oh, whatever. Because I was like, no, I was not being polite to this guy. Yeah. And then he walks in the back part and I was like, oh shit, hey man. I was like, in my head I thought he was gonna come beat the fuck out of me.
Oh no.
And then he goes, hey man, that was awesome. And he hands me $90 in $5 bills.
That's a very odd.
And then he disappeared into the night. And also the band sucked.
I thought you were gonna be like, and that was Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, no.
And that's Green Day's extra drummer or something.
Man, I actually, Fall Out Boy, I had an English teacher in high school. Mm-hmm. I don't know how familiar you are with that genre of music, but he was in
I directed one of their music videos.
Oh, really? So he was in the band, he was in Arma Angelus. You remember Arma Angelus?
Oh, I didn't get many spinoffs.
Gotcha. So there was Arma Angelus. That band broke up, And that band made Rise Against and Fall Out Boy.
Jesus.
And then he's a teacher. Good guy, though. Mr. Bishop. Major shouts out.
Mr. Bishop.
Yeah.
You missed the boat.
Yeah. So that was pretty sweet.
That's insane. Can you imagine? Oh. Because there's a bunch of rock and roll stories. It's like the guy who was the original drummer for the Beatles, and they were like,
oh, yeah.
He's like, I don't know if this is going to make any money, mate.
Yeah.
And he goes and gets a job, and they get Ringo.
Yeah.
Missing out on trillions of dollars.
The Beatles, I'm not a Beatles head, but the Beatles are very interesting because I'm from Bakersfield. I don't know, it's the same thing.
Home of the Beatles.
Home of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Well, home of Buck Owens, who, I don't know how much you know about Buck Owens, how much anybody knows about Buck Owens. This is where it starts to get boring for everybody involved.
Yeah, just turn it off.
Just go. If you don't want to hear about Buck Owens, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
No, Buck Owens, literally very much revolutionized country music in the way that he was kind of the start of the switch of country music that you would like sit there and be like, oh, okay, like real sad, like Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain type shit, to more of like a heavy guitar and like shit you could like really fucking dance to and like really get down. But he was huge. He had that, hee haw and all this shit, like massive guy. And so then the Beatles come over here, and the first time whenever they're doing the Ed Sullivan Show. And it's like, Beatle mania, and everyone's fucking pissing their pants and all this stuff, going complete hysterics. And they go over here. They come, I believe, first to L.A., and they go Capitol Records, and they're like trying to like hook the Beatles up. They're like, who do you want to meet? Who do you want to do this? And all of them were like Buck Owens.
Wow.
They're like Buck Owens. And then they go on Ed Sullivan Show. I believe they play one song. They play the first. I think they played 3 songs. But the second song they play, where they let Ringo sing, shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But
to this day
is a Buck Owens song.
Oh, really?
They cover "Act Naturally." They're gonna put me in the movie.
Wow.
They're gonna make a big star out of me. When the drummer starts singing, the band's done.
Yeah.
Like it's just that's when it gets.
Yeah. Unless you're the Beatles.
Yeah. It's just. Oh god. The Beatles. It's not for me. I understand why it's good, but I just...
Yeah. I didn't get into the Beatles until my late 20s, and it wasn't for very long.
Yeah.
It was
I mean, we've all done acid a few times.
Yeah. You go through the whole catalog, and you're like, okay, now I know what everybody else is talking about. I know a couple of these songs. You buy their greatest hits album, which is like a quad album.
Yeah.
Listen to all that a couple times. You get it down, know a couple of words, just for conversation's sake, so you're not like, what are the Beatles?
Yeah, who are the Beatles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to do that with like the Foo Fighters, the Who, Queen. You got to just some standards that you just got to know.
Yeah, no. Foo Fighters, I'm down with Foo Fighters. One of my friends is Dave Grohl's cousin.
Oh, cool.
They're, who's a comic, but all this. But I don't know. This isn't even that crazy out of school, but it's also a Beatles story that his friend was telling me that he was there with Dave, and then Paul McCartney was there.
Oh, wow.
Or no, sorry. So it was Dave. They were doing something. It was like Madison Square Garden. But the guy who killed Osama bin Laden was there. And he's like a very soft-spoken guy.
Yeah.
Remember whenever he like first like came out and was doing this, like he was like a celebrity for like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And so he was there.
Did a book tour.
Yeah, did like a thing. He's like, oh my God.
Freedom ain't free.
Yeah, and he apparently talks very quietly.
Yeah.
But then they're like in this hallway and it's very loud, and like Dave is with that guy and they're walking, and then Paul McCartney comes by, and then he's like, oh hey, this is Paul. Hey Paul, this is I think he's like, hey, this is the guy who like killed Osama bin Laden. But it was very loud. I don't think he like quite got it. So apparently Paul McCartney just did 2 peace signs and went, right on, man, and then just kept it moving.
Keep killing motherfuckers,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's old as shit now.
Paul McCartney?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't. Okay, the way I look at my career, if it goes halfway to where I want it to be, and I have a number in my head, you will not hear from me anymore.
Yeah.
I got a number, and it's like if I hit, let's just call it $10 million.
Oh, I thought you were just saying like 80 grand.
I mean,
if I could just hit 80 grand,
I can move back to North Carolina and never work ever again.
If I could just be happy in North Carolina.
80 grand to live off of for the rest of my life. That's hilarious. Hey, ladies.
We were in a
You ever been with an 80 grand in there?
Yeah, just so you know, I make about 80 grand a year. We were in a meeting one time, and it was like whenever we were doing this show we used to do, this like an improv-y fun drinking show thing. Mm-hmm. There was this like guy, I fucking hated this guy, real dickhead who was like, I could take this shit. He's not British, but in my head he's like a pompous dickhead, so he is.
Like
apparently.
A suit that you're pitching to?
Yeah, like kind of, and he's like, and it's like real tense, a little, like not tense. Everybody's just really nervous. And he's like, so like, what do you guys want to do with like what's your goals? What's your this? What you're that? And like everyone's just giving like bullshit answers. And I was like, just to fuck around and try to break the thing. I was like, yeah, man, you know what? I just need to make I want to make like 30 grand a year. And like all of the comics who were there laughed, and this guy was like, what? And like,
he took you seriously?
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't want to be like, I'm fucking around, because I was like, whatever.
He's like, I'll buy this show right now.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I got 30 grand right fucking here.
It's the next Impractical Jokers, but you guys all make 30 grand a year. Oh, fuck. Can you imagine just getting in a shitty deal like that?
Oh, it happens constantly.
Yeah.
Probably not as much as comics, but like musicians all the time. I think even Fall Out Boy, they maybe were telling a story that whenever they had like their first big hit, they have like the #1 song in the country, and they're still like fucking eating dog food in the back of a van.
Yeah, it takes so much longer to get paid as a musician because they got to recoup, and then financially you'll never recoup because they keep changing the math.
Yeah,
and now it's even worse because you'll sign a deal and they'll go per stream. And then 6 months later, the legal department will redefine what streams are, and they'll go plays.
Yeah.
So you're trapped in a contract that doesn't.
It's weird because I mean, obviously at a certain level, it's much different. But it's like, I make my manager $0, and like he's like, yeah, man, you're crushing it. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
He's banking on the future.
Yeah,
because if he does his job right, he's going to be buying his second Ferrari off your ass in like
100%
a couple years.
And that's what he said too. Which I mean, whenever we first met, he was like, oh, really cool with that kind of thing. He's like, this company. He's like, my boss told me, hey, this company makes a lot of money. So find people you think are funny. Don't worry about making money immediately. And I was like, you picked the right fucking guy, because I'm not going to make you shit.
But if you're in there, because it's also a thing where we have to go out and make our own opportunities.
Yeah.
And if you just happen to be signed to that guy at the same time, NBC's like, where is Bruce Gray? Yeah. You're like, well, you got to talk to me about that.
Yeah, he's at home playing baseball on PlayStation right now.
There's nothing wrong with signing every open micer in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Except for fielding all of those fucking phone calls.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's the same thing with movies. Like, if you go out and make an indie movie, you don't have any problem selling it.
Yeah.
It's about selling it for what you want to sell it for.
Yeah.
But everybody will buy. Lionsgate will buy it. And they'll go, oh, we have it in case someone else comes looking for it.
Yeah.
That's the whole trick about the whole film business, is that, like, everything's worth something, but it's never worth what the artist thinks it's worth. And everybody, if they can't make money off of it, you're not going to get an offer until you're already making money. It's whatever. Well,
I have a like similar like to that kind of thing too, where it's like I have a friend of mine who is a comic, but he used to work for some studio, and they just like some scripts pass through there all day, and he reads like scripts, and he's like, this is good, this is bad, this is whatever, and he was like it was back in the day, so like Breaking Bad came through, like the pilot script for it, and he was like, hey, this is really good, you guys should check it out, and then like the fucking suits at whatever company this were read it, and we're like, nah, I don't think so. And then they just like fucking, which is
those are my favorite stories. Yeah. Oh.
And he's like, all right, whatever you say. And like a few years later,
I hope you got a producing credit when it actually did become a show.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. If everybody in LA got what they were supposed to get, this would be like Dubai.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Streets would be paved with gold.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, this is the perfect time to quit comedy, because then I could always just be like, yeah, you know, I was right there. Yeah, I could have. Like, almost the same thing as like, I could have gone pro, but you know, my knee or whatever. Like, it's just, I could just move back to my hometown and be a shithead in the bar and be like, yeah, I could have been a superstar.
I was a walk-on at Florida State University.
You're from, what kind of place are you like in North Carolina?
So I was born in New York. I moved to North Carolina when I was 3, when they moved the headquarters of IBM to Raleigh, North Carolina. So I grew up in Raleigh.
Okay.
Spent a bunch of time in Wilmington, Charlotte, Greensboro, all over the state, because it's so boring in Raleigh. You just gotta, your friends are like hours away.
People are talking big about North Carolina right now, in like a good way. Charleston and all that shit.
Charleston's in South Carolina.
Oh,
which is fine, because everybody does that.
Maybe I am thinking of South Carolina.
Yeah, because that's where
Danny McBride and all those guys.
Yeah,
they shoot a lot of shit there.
They shoot. What is the name of the baseball show?
They shoot the
Eastbound and Down.
They also, I believe, shoot Righteous Gemstones out there.
And yeah, a lot of that's shot in Wilmington, but they'll go down to Charleston for like exteriors, and it's easier to shoot in South Carolina than it is in North Carolina, because this is not the current governor, but the former governor of North Carolina had a great film incentive, and then his best friend, who happens to own Chick-fil-A, started a massive studio production company in Atlanta. And then all of a sudden, the fucking film incentive went away in North Carolina.
Are you saying that his best friend is Truett Cathy?
I don't know. Is that guy like this tall?
The old guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Owner of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That was my first job, Chick-fil-A.
I met that guy.
Really?
I did a commercial for owner operators only, and he came to the set, and I was like, "Fuck you."
That was my first job. I was so bad at the job. I was terrible.
Did you have to say "my pleasure"?
No, because I worked in the back because I was so bad.
Yeah,
I was just.
But how hard is it? Or did you just not want to be there?
I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah,
I hated it.
Yeah,
but I quit there and I went and worked in minor league baseball.
That's cool. What team?
The Bakersfield Blaze, which is now defunct. But
really
great times.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a baseball head you are, but it was for the Reds. A lot of guys, Billy Hamilton and a lot of guys came through there. It was really fun.
I'm not a sports dude, but I'm baseball by proxy. Best friend growing up, fucking super baseball head. My neighbor across the street, we watch every Dodger game.
Fuck yeah.
And I did a documentary about the Lake Elsinore Storm.
That's in the California League, High A California League. Lake Elsinore Storm did play against the Blaze. You got the Lake Elsinore Storm. You got the Modesto Nuts. You got the San Jose Giants. You got the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes.
Wow.
And you had the Bakersfield Blaze, but now the team was it's really long story, but the stadium was so shitty. Everybody hated the stadium. It's a fucking 100-year-old stadium. It's built the wrong way. Yeah. There's a fucking 100-foot batter's eye. You'd have to wait till like 8:30 sometimes for the sun to go below the thing. It was awful. And I would be having to field these kind of things like with the other team. They'd be like, "Hey, you know this place fucking sucks, right?" And I'd be like, "Yes." Yep. Would you need anything else?
That's why I work here.
Yeah, but that's why because I started out I was a bat boy, but then I was head bat boy slash
running all the other bat boys
a little bit slash assistant clubhouse manager. Mm-hmm. So mainly my job was to make sure that nobody got busted with tobacco. And it's not like I was telling people to not chew or do whatever, but because they would run checks on shit like that all the time. So then somebody knocks on the clubhouse door. I go over there, guy, fucking, some dork. He's like, with a clipboard. I'm like, all right, cool. Give me 2 minutes. I'll take you over to the other spot. I grab a bucket. I hand it to the one of the other guys, and I like get everyone's attention. Everything in the bucket, inside the bucket, goes inside the dryer. Close the dryer. Take him to the other place. Or while I take him to the other place, they're doing all that. Take him to the other clubhouse, let him do that, the visitor clubhouse, bring him back, spotless.
So the visitor clubhouse, no warning on tobacco.
Oh, they can eat my ass. Fuck them, dude. Fuck the visitor. Fuck the Lake Elsinore Storm, dude. The Rancho Cucamonga Quakes can eat my fucking shit. I fuck them all.
So what's the deal with no tobacco? I've never heard that before.
It's complete. Even in Major League, you'll get rung up for that shit.
So
it's tobacco free. They're not...
But everybody's dipping in the clubhouse.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they don't want to catch you on TV with it, is what it basically.
I mean, but still, you'll see it constantly, dudes with just fat fucking things. And it's like, it's crazy. I saw a guy, Eric Davis, legendary Reds player, who's what they call like a roving instructor, which means you go around, you help here, you help there, you do your thing.
Yeah.
I saw him smoke a cigarette while having a dip in his mouth. It was pretty fucking wild.
That's gangster.
And also, I was like 17, and he came up to me. He was like, "How old are you?" He's a very intense guy. He's hilarious. Mm-hmm. Very intense guy. Classic, like very fast base stealer, slides with his fucking cleat up in your face back in the day. Just hardcore dude.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me and he goes, "How old are you?" And I was like 17. He was like, "Go get me some Red Man." I was like, "I'm 17." He's like, "You look 18. You'll be fine." So then I have to spend the next I get there early. So I spend the next 2.5 hours driving from store to store, and I put on a uniform, a baseball uniform. So I had the thing. I grabbed an extra uniform. So I have a Bakersfield Blaze thing. I just look like one. I just am trying to look like one of the players so that I could walk into this store and be like, "Yeah, let me get some Red Man." And I went there, 2 people, and they were like, "Do you have your ID?" And I was like, "Ah, man, I left it in the dugout or whatever." And they were like, "Oh no." And then I got so lucky because there was this guy with at the third store I went to that had a Reds hat walking in, and I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "You Reds fan?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, this is a story." Because Eric Davis is like a legendary Reds player, from back in the day. And I was like, "I'm 17 years old. Eric Davis sent me here to get him Red Man. I need your help." And he's like, "No problem." And he got it.
You.
And I was like, "Here's my phone number. Anytime you want tickets to the game, fucking hit me up.
Sweet.
I got you." And he would hit me up all the time. But it's it was the luckiest fucking thing because I was like, I can't go back to Eric Davis and be like, "Oh man, I couldn't do it."
I thought you were gonna say you walk in the store and ask for tobacco, and they were like, "Hey, there's no tobacco in baseball."
Yeah. There's no tobacco in baseball.
You should know better.
No,
it's like some clerk making $4 an hour.
There's a friend of mine who's friends with a pitcher on the Padres. I don't want to put out too much, whatever. But every time he's been in town, he's been hanging at the Comedy Store
cool.
with him. But this guy he went out. I'm a Dodgers fan, so it's like he goes out and gets fucking shelled by the Dodgers. 2 hours later, he's at the store, just drinking and doing whatever. And in my head, I'm like, dude, do you even give a fuck? You just got your fucking ass kicked.
Yeah.
And the thing, he's just ripping.
Well, he knows he has tomorrow off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never met an athlete who seemed like they care less about the entire thing. But then he's just there, he's vaping, which actually made me feel good because I was like, I vape. He's a professional athlete. He vapes. We all
Look at us, couple of athletes just sitting around vaping.
But then he, even in the playoffs last week, he got fucking rocked. And I was like, it's because he's fucking out here vaping and doing it. And I'm just, while I'm vaping, I'm like, you shouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
You're like, yeah, you should probably stop vaping, man.
If any like professional athlete is doing any of the same things that I'm doing, as far as like drinking at the Comedy Store or vaping and like that, you should. That's not. You're on the wrong path.
Well, the whole thing, especially for football, and I don't know a lot about football, but I do know that after the Super Bowl or once your team's knocked out, you go hard. You do all the stuff that you weren't supposed to do.
As far as like smoking weed and stuff like that, because you're not getting tested for a few weeks.
You're going ham.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain date on the calendar where you're like, well, I guess I'm not going to smoke, drink, or do any of that other stuff now, and I got to get my body ready for August. And that seems like a fucking really good way to wreck all of your internal organs.
Yeah, it's hardcore. But a lot of those guys, I mean, especially football, those guys are so fucked because they're just getting hit in the head. They're fucking popping pills. Or Aaron Rodgers talking about playing on Percocet and shit. And then like, I see people like pulling up interviews after the game where Aaron Rodgers is like, he is fucked up on Percocet.
Nice.
It's really wild. Yeah. And then I see that and I'm like, he's just like me.
Yeah.
he's
I get compared visually to Aaron Rodgers. A lot.
I can see that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I have 3 minutes of my set is about the time that I met him. It's my closer.
Gotcha. Fuck yeah.
It's a weak ass closer.
Fuck yeah.
I'll tell it to you after the.
Please.
I've told
you know what? Pull out a SM58 right now, dude.
I got one right there.
Say, pull up. Do a set right now.
It just cuts to. That's where I do all my sets that I cut. I film them right there.
Yeah.
Because I talked about that too much on the show too. But let's go back to the store for just a second.
Please.
We touched on you meeting Adam for the first time, but like, what's your relationship with like the store at the store now? And like, and how did that progress? Like, when did you get there for the first time? Like,
I mean, I got there for the first time because I started comedy when I was like 18.
Wow.
And so, and I don't know if you bringer shows.
Yeah.
The idea, I don't know how much everybody knows about bringer shows. There's the biggest scumbags in the entire world produce bringer shows. And what that means is that they produce a show at a place like an independent produced show upstairs somewhere at the Comedy Store. And they go, and you have to bring X amount of people to sit in the crowd to make them money for you to even be able to go up on the show.
And you get none of that money.
You get none of that money.
You can bring 100 people.
Yes.
And they won't even tip you out.
Yes. And one of the biggest dirtbags of all time, this guy, whenever I was 18, being from Bakersfield, as far as...
What's his name?
I will tell you, I truly, only because
I know who it is.
Only because he sometimes puts me up on his show, and the show itself, the audience, everyone in there is fucking half fucking stupid as shit because they're there to support their friends. They have no idea about what the level of comedy is. So if you even have done comedy a few times and you go up in front of this crowd, you are like the fucking king of the world. So anytime I need to get like a tape for something, I'm just like, hey dude, could I get up on this? And he's like, yeah, totally, whatever. Like just a fucking, the worst. But like he does all this stuff for me. I fucking hate him. But so I didn't know anything about comedy. Nobody knew. There was no stand-up comedy in Bakersfield where I'm from. Right. So like I started stand-up comedy in Bakersfield. Like I started doing it there, but I also started the idea of independently produced local comedy there.
Wow.
And so
like bar shows and stuff.
Yeah. And open mics and all this stuff. And now, I mean, it's great. There's like 50 plus comedians. There's a comedy club there now.
You can go get a spot in Bakersfield whenever you want.
Absolutely.
You're the godfather of Bakersfield.
Yes. For better or worse, yes.
Hell yeah, dude.
Which is very funny because like this isn't me being like I'm the man. I'm not shit, but like.
But you are the man.
Technically. And but then I go there a few weeks ago because a friend of mine, there was a music venue, was in the same spot. I actually, at this music venue, when it was a music venue, I got kicked out of an Afro Man concert for smoking pot.
Wow.
Which I feel that's crazy.
What's Afro Man? Because I got high?
Yeah. Literally, I got kicked out of the show for smoking weed. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? He's on stage, he's playing a double neck guitar, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking smoke some weed. And
what about everybody else?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And the guy kicked me out, and I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And so then I go there into the green room, and I'm like just setting up my shit, like whatever. And this guy, like filthy clothes guy, has like apron on, comes from the kitchen, and he's like, "What's up, man?" And I was like, what's up? In my head, I'm like, do I order from this guy? And then and then he's like, hey, man, I just want to say what's up. He's like, I'm like a new comedian. Just wanted to say, like, what's up, man? Like, you're the fucking local legend, bro. And I was like, I was like,
calm down.
Please stop. I was like, you don't understand. I do appreciate the kind words, but you got to knock it off.
Yeah.
But nothing about comedy. So I'm like, literally just Google how to get into stand-up comedy. First thing that comes up, great SEO on this guy. Stand-up comedy class, Burbank, stand-up comedy clinic. Shouts out Jerry Corley. Helped me out a lot.
Nice.
Not really, but I just didn't know.
Is that the guy that wrote the book?
That's Greg Dean, I think.
I got like 14 books on how to do stand-up.
Yeah, but it's like he's literally, if I would have just met a comedian and they would have been like, go to open mics, I'd be like, oh, okay, perfect, and I wouldn't have had to do this.
Yeah.
But I did, it helped transition. I'm a fucking child at the time. And then there's a graduation, like a graduation show. And then at the graduation show, here's this fucking scumbag with a clipboard comes up to me and is like, man, you're going to be a superstar. That was great. You're all this. Hey, let me get your information. Blows me up. I want to get you on at the Comedy Store. I'm gonna put you on stage at the comedy. And in my head, I'm like, I am the fucking man. I just did this thing. I'm a fucking child. All this shit.
I am comedy.
And then he's like, you got to bring 8 to 10 people. And I was like,
Jesus.
But I was like, of course you do. That's what comedy is. There's a few things, because I truly, when I started this, I was a child. I was 18, 19.
And that would make a lot of sense to an 18-year-old.
Absolutely.
I can bring 10 people, no fucking
I
problem.
got to bring 10 people, no problem. Hey, this is a business.
I can hold my beer.
You got to make money.
Yeah.
And so do that. Go do it. And then I bring over 10 people to the first one. And then he goes,
he starts crying.
Belly room show. And he's like, man, you crushed it so hard that I'm going to put you on in the main room. And I was like,
what?
I'm the fucking man.
Yeah.
I'm crushing it.
I'm
and
a
so
savant.
Then,
yeah.
Same thing. Go there, do it again. And he brings me back there. And I remember I had a flask of vodka. And I'm in the back in the green room of the main room. And he like walks me back there, and I don't even realize that he's like sneaking me in. And so then I go up to the bar on the patio, and I just order some orange juice. Because I'm like, make myself a little. I was like, can I get an orange juice and because in my head I'm like, I don't know. And I see people like
no one will ever know.
I see people like this all the time right now at the store, and people will come up to you and they'll say things that they don't realize are humiliating.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm on this show, and in my head I'm like, oh great, I'm like, I'm actually doing roast battle tonight, and you're like, you don't understand, and that's humiliating,
right?
And then I go up there.
Hey, I'm doing potluck.
Yeah, I mean, people will get, there's a random fucking lottery, 5,000, 100 million people sign up, 16 people, used to, one of the least random things of all time. Now, completely random, selected by email, which is terrible. That sucks. But it's, people will like post a thing on their thing, be like, this is like, tonight, the Comedy Store. And it's you got randomly selected to do this thing. And it's like, I'm not as like a gatekeeper or like a fucking whatever, but it's like, just have some respect for yourself.
A little bit.
But then, so I'm back there, I'm doing my thing. I'm fucking drinking my vodka and orange juice. I'm in the green room. I got camo shorts on.
At night.
Yeah. At night in the main room of the Comedy Store.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so then I like go up and do my set, and I'm chilling back there. And then like security comes back there and is like, what the fuck? Like to the guy, and he's like, what? And he's like, whoa. Like I just have a baby thing going on.
You might as well have a face tattoo that says I'm super young.
Yeah. And so then I get fucking booted out of there, and then I was like, whatever, man. Look, I didn't like
fuck this place. I don't need this place.
Fuck all this shit.
I'm the king of Bakersfield comedy, bro.
But then I became of age, and I got hired there in.
Well, wait, what happened that night? Did you end up going up?
Oh, I went up.
Yeah. So
in my head, I was like, I'm the man.
But they just didn't want you in the green room because
no, they didn't want me in the place.
Oh,
yeah. I went up. I was in 19.
Wow.
And then I got kicked out of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And they were even more lax. They were pretty lax about things back then. But if I would have just gone there and did my set, nobody would have said anything. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I'm like strutting around and like going to the bar and ordering orange juice,
yeah,
which is like, that's like bar 101 of like, Well, hey, what's something nobody does at a bar?
Can I have a Coca-Cola,
Yeah,
please?
that Coca-Cola makes sense. You're like, hey, this is a sober guy.
Yeah.
But like going up to a bar and being like, yeah, could I get a pineapple? Can I get a margarita without the tequila? And then you like go in the back and add your own tequila. Like,
brought my own.
Yeah, it's like, may as well have told them, hey, you know what's crazy? I'm getting this, and I'm gonna go in the back and put vodka in it because I'm a child.
And you don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was just so obvious.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. But I did get kicked out after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then. Yeah, I got hired there. What was that? September 2019.
Door guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a 1.5 year long process, and it's like at that time,
just to get hired. Yeah.
And it's like now it's a little bit easier and it's a little bit more streamlined, which is like that's good for whoever.
Well, they turn them around a little faster. It's about 2 years, right? You're door guy for 2 years. You're fucking famous and rich.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I saw your Maserati that you pulled up.
I did.
That shit is
that
nice.
was the Subaru with the stolen door panel.
Yeah.
It's
Mazda Subaru.
Yeah. Mazda Subaru. Yeah, it looks like a killdozer on a show. It's all like built and fucked up.
You could have just gone with Maserati. My fans would have been like, fucking sick.
Damn, this guy must make a lot of tips at the Comedy Store.
That's right.
But it's really hard, even if you're like, because my big thing, I hosted the open mic every week at the Ice House, and it was really, really good. It was
cool.
Packed. It was awesome. And I was like, I need to play this like anytime. I'll just like, I know some of the door guys, they're like, I'm friendly with them. I'll just tell them, come to the Ice House. It's usually 3 minutes. Here's 5.
Yeah.
There's usually nobody at an open mic. Here's everybody at an open mic. It's packed. It's awesome. Yeah. And then, so I started getting up a little bit more there. Here, I mean, really though, I mean, you would go 6 months signing up for Pollock and knock it out.
Yeah.
And that's totally normal. Mm. And people now are like, people will walk up to me, like mentally ill people, like, I've been signing up for 2 months and I haven't even gotten up. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, people, same thing. Like, whenever I would host that, people were like, man, I came all the way out here to fucking, and I didn't even get up. And I'm like, well, first of all,
from where?
First of all, like they're like from fucking Burbank. And it's like but it's like I used to, man, when I first moved out here, I was so, I feel nothing for people that complain about their like, oh, man, I did this, I did that. Whenever I first moved to LA, I lived at the fucking Days Inn in Glendale, extended stay.
Wow.
Me, the Armenian mafia, tweakers, prostitutes, like legit fucking hell on earth. I slept on an army cot at the fucking Days Inn Glendale.
Wow.
Just
why an army cot? Were you sharing the room with somebody?
So, truthfully, the army cot more comfortable than the bed.
Wow.
My aunt worked for Shell down here. She would come down here like 1 weekend a month for work. And she just paid for an extended, like, here's a easy, I'll just sleep at this fucking place 2 days a month, go do this. I keep it on lock. I never have to worry about anything.
Instead of having an apartment, she just always knows
easy,
room
cheap,
52 is her.
It's cheap as hell.
Yeah.
And so, army cot, pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And so, legit army cot, Days in Glendale. Hosted an open mic at the bar at the Days in Glendale.
Nice.
Would never have to. If shit was still going bad for me right now, which it's not like it's I'm the king of the world, but I would never tell people that I lived at the Days in Glendale. Back then, I would be like, "Yeah, I'm hosting this thing," and then they'd be like, "Okay, cool," and then it would end. I'd be like, "All right," and I would just literally hop in the elevator and go to my room.
And even then, you wouldn't tell people.
Absolutely not. I was humiliated.
But I think what you're driving at is the vast number of people that are like, "I'm living in a hotel and I'm fucking drove all the way to the comedy
people aren't
store."
even doing that. They're like, I fucking, my parents pay for this, and I fucking came all the way over here to get. And it's like, I would do that, and I would go from there. I would go. Millions of times before I hosted the mic there, I would sit at the Ice House for the open mic for 3 fucking plus hours and not get up. I'd go to Potluck every week, sign up for months and months and months and not get up. I'd go to the fucking Improv, never get up. Like all this shit, I would just sit there and not get up. But it's like, I'm not like fucking bitching anyone about it. But the way that I fucking kind of came and backdoored the whole thing is that at the time, every Sunday night, they had a open mic in the belly room of the Comedy Store that I believe Steve Fury started. That was like the set of the night mic. So if you had the best set at that open mic, you got to get a spot on Potluck the next day.
Oh, nice.
And so I won that like 10 times because I just like would go and I would be like, I have to have the best set of my entire life when I go up here right now because I need to backdoor this whole thing.
So during the day, are you just writing and writing and writing and writing?
What was I doing during the day back then? I was working.
Or what was your process to like make sure you were ready when you got the spots?
I don't even think I would do like, I wouldn't do the same exact thing every time. I would just like be fucking like try to be fucking laser focused in, and whenever I go up, be like, if I'm out of fucking pocket on anything, like if I'm not completely dialed in, I'll fucking scream at myself in the hotel later. Yeah. So I'm just like going and just like legit like sweating and like out of breath on stage because I'm like, I gotta fucking really do this
just
shit.
High energy.
Yeah.
And was it like all in the moment, or you had like?
I did like bits and like, of course, but I truly don't remember. I don't remember
just
what.
Blank,
I was like just fucking whatever. Yeah. And then like same thing. Then you got to stay to the end of the mic, and the mic fucking goes on till like 1:30 a.m. So you could be going up at like 9 p.m. and then have a really good set and be like, you know what? I think I should stick around. And at that time, I was actually living in like Hollywood, East Hollywood, and so sometimes I would go home and then come back, so that I could be there at the end whenever they said who won. And a lot of times I did that, and then I didn't win because I wasn't there and somebody had a better set, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was like my way of being able to like backdoor the whole thing and be like, this is my way to be able to get up as consistently as possible.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
Yeah. And so then eventually there was like rounds of showcasing where they would showcase things. So like I did it, and then like Ali Makovsky had got it. And I was like, in my head,
you guys are about the same age?
She's younger than me.
Because she started at like 17.
Yeah, she might be like 3 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And she was like then, and then like other people did, and I'm like, I don't know. I've always had, I think it's because of starting comedy so early that I felt like had a pretty solid attitude about the timing of things, of being like, I know that I have, I'm not in any particular rush.
Yeah.
I would love everything to happen at once, but I'm not in like a particular rush for like, I need this now. Where I'm like, I know this, that, and the other thing will happen. I just have to be patient and just keep literally doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I have the exact opposite problem. I started at 38.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need it all.
If it doesn't happen now.
Yeah. This 15-year shit's got to go, dude.
But it's like, I think that I got lucky doing that and like getting kind of the sucking out of the way early.
Yeah.
As far as like when because I was terrible. I was so bad.
Yeah.
I was awful.
Yeah.
And I was like also like people start now and it's like, oh, they got a few things here and there. Man, there was a video of me at Flappers for like the third time I ever did comedy, and for so long I could not get into this YouTube account, and I talked to people at YouTube. I was like, you got to take this fucking video down, and they were like, no. And then like finally one day something just clicked, and I just like hit on the keyboard and it fucking logged in, and I was like, holy shit. And so then I downloaded it and then took it down because I was like,
in case you ever want it for the documentary.
I want to have this just somewhere. I don't even know where I would find it now. I have a million hard drives with shit on it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I got to fucking figure that. I don't know where the fucking this is.
It was just on an old account?
Account I think I just created a YouTube account and uploaded that because I was like.
Yeah, and it got 1 million views.
I got like 5. Awful. Just terrible.
Yeah.
Just so bad.
Oh, man. I look back at some of because I was an early YouTuber. I started a little YouTube troupe in like 2009, 2010. But we all got busy and we all got jobs and it was weird, so we just kind of stopped doing it. But, man, just to think, like, if we had stuck with it, like, I go back and look at this stuff, it's so bad, and we were like, this is the best thing on the internet.
I mean, there's cell phone video of me and my friend Stephen Langston making YouTube videos at school, funny stuff. And I was in 7th grade. I graduated high school in 2011. So then, what is that? Like 2006, 2007. Like YouTube was like brand new.
Yeah.
And like making these things, and the same thing, like anything. It's like if I would have just stuck with, like if you would stick with any of this shit, like same thing. Whenever I had first started, there was like a few open micers who older dude, like this guy Justin Brown. You ever play Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, the OG, like the 2 or 3.
The newer one, did you play?
No.
So there's this guy on there that he really reminds me of, bald guy, glasses, and he's telling me, he's like, you got to get Bitcoin, and I'm like, electronic money?
Is this back in 2011?
Oh, this is 2012, I think. He's like, I mean, it was so cheap. He's like, dude, put $500 in it, just never think about it again,
bruh.
And I've truthfully, I've done the math, and I do $60-70 million. Yeah. And
now, I mean, this time last year it would be 300,000 or 300 million.
Yeah. Oh, it was unbelievable.
That's ridiculous.
And it was like peak whenever I was thinking about all that, it was like peak pandemic. Like I'm living in Portland, and I like really thought about it. I was like, let me do the math on this shit. And I did the math, and I was like, I'm gonna try to never think about this again. I'm gonna fucking freak out.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. But
at least you didn't buy it and then lose it on a hard drive.
That's bad.
Those people go
or sell it early.
Yeah,
because I think he sold his in whenever it was first hitting big, like 2018 when it hit up to like 30. I think he sold then, but I think he sold like 50 plus.
2016 was the first like pop to 22, and then it went back down to like 8.
Yeah,
and then last year it went up to like 67.
Yeah, I think he sold it like 30 something.
Still,
yeah.
If he bought it in 2011 for less than $1,
yeah,
he's doing all right.
Yeah, I think he sold like 50 plus. And it's funny because he's like a guy who has money now, but you would not be able to tell. He literally, anybody, he reminds me a lot of this guy Lester from Grand Theft Auto 5.
Lester,
and it's a character that David Cross plays. He's in a wheelchair.
Nice.
I think he's in a wheelchair. No, he's a cane.
Love David Cross.
Hilarious.
So then, how does that? Let's wrap up the store. So that, how much longer before you were a door guy, and then you're not still there, right?
Yeah, I'm there like 2 days a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I should have looked that up.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't even know how you would find that out. But it's great.
There's doorguys.com.
Doorguys.com. There is doorguys.com, yeah.
That's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
It's backdoor guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm there like 2 days a week. I try to be there less and less as far as working. But I mean, like being in the system so you get spots and whatever else. And truthfully, I love the Comedy Store more than anything. And I owe, truthfully, everything to the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
As far as like my personal development, my professional relationships, like my manager now like would have probably never seen me if it wasn't for the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And like all this shit.
What do you think helps more, being around other comedians and like riffing and then watching like the top 50 best people in the world perform every night, or going up and getting the reps, or is it a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. I think after a certain point the reps are going to be detrimental to you as far as going to the shit open mic and hanging around some of these people. It's just detrimental to not only you, they're not like, but also I was in and out of it, but I was in a good headspace for a long time as far as open mics go, where I eventually knew what I wanted to be saying and how I wanted to be saying it, and I'm listening to myself. I'm completely tuning out everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like if it gets big laughs, cool. If it doesn't, like, that's fine. I know what I'm doing and I know what this is. Like, but I mean, up until, this is what I've told a few people, because that's what somebody else said. I've heard other people say. Like, when you first move here, if this is somebody's listening to this and you want to move to LA and do open mics, even if you're fucking good, like even if you're a consistent feature host at Wise Guys or any other whatever local club you are, and I've had a lot of people that kind of fell victim to this, that like guys that are very funny, very very funny comedians, they're hosting featuring every single weekend at the local club, whatever it is, A club, B club, and they move out here and they expect everything to happen immediately, and they can't embrace the chaos of everything and understand that like there is a chaos aspect to it, and like you're gonna be living on the edge of fucking reality, poverty, what all this shit, and don't realize how hard it's going to be whenever you get out here, and it just fucking crushes them. And it's like guys who are out of comedy now, who I love. They're truly much funnier comedians than I.
And if you're happy with your life and your quality of life and the amount of times you're getting up in your local club, don't come here.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to buy a house no matter how big.
And that's like, being in Portland, like whenever I had moved up there, it's like there's quite a few very, very funny people, and it fucking crushes me because they are so funny. And if they wanted to take whatever to the next level and move somewhere, LA, New York, wherever, and do it, they could, but they're very happy. Mm-hmm. They feature at the club once a month. They regional headliner, do great, make enough money, do their thing, but could just destroy and if they really put their fucking head into it.
Yeah.
But the eventually, I think like the reps of everything. Like now, I go up like 1, 2, probably 5 to 8 times a week.
Okay,
and that's like
just at the store.
No, at the store, something like usually, definitely at least 3 at the store, and then like the Improv, Don't Tell, like the other stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I'm lucky to have these little pockets where I know that if I go up like Monday in the original room, I know it's like big, and I know there's like always a few like people hanging around watching. So I'm like, if I'm leading up to that, usually every week where I'm like, I have a new thing. Wednesdays we do Wednesdays up next 10:30 at the Comedy Store Belly Room every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah, but then I go up there. It's like usually pretty packed, but I know that there's not really. It's mostly just drunks watching, and I'm like, this is where I can do new stuff. This is where I can try this out, switch that around, do that, and then I have things on the weekend. I'm like more with that. I can also do a new thing there if I feel like it, and then like if I get to like Monday where it's like I know there's people around, whether it's people from the Comedy Store or like agent people or booker people from whatever else, I know that I want to put on as much of myself and have. I know that's where I want to have my best set of the week.
Yeah.
Is like there. And even if it's like a 5-minute thing, but still it's like that's where I want to.
You want to show the most growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Truly. And
that's
then
smart.
But because now it's like, I mean, I and maybe it's laziness on my own part, but it's like I'll go to an open mic every few months and then be like, oh, this is why I don't go to these things, because it's just it's mentally draining,
emotionally draining,
and it's a lot. But like when you first move to a place, you have to be out every single night at multiple spots for 6 months, because you have to just go out and you have to differentiate yourself between yourself and the fucking homeless guy who just shit himself on the bus and is now going up.
And everybody's got to go, that dude's funny, and then they're all talking about you.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be that guy's funny. It has to be. It starts out as that guy's not a crazy person.
Okay.
That guy's not a crazy person, and then they're like, this guy can put together consistent thoughts.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay, this guy's funny. Oh, okay, this guy's funny and not cool to be around. This, that, the other thing.
And then you start getting the auxiliary shows and the alt rooms and all that stuff.
But I also got luckier than people who moved out here from other states and whatever else. But it's because I'm being from Bakersfield, I already had all the contacts because I've known these people forever, so that I could headline, in between LA and Sacramento. Like there's a shit ton of shows.
Yeah.
And I still do all these shows now. And it's like, I got lucky with those. And like, luckily enough, I could like bring people that like people like, Vokey or like all these other people like Kelly, all these people that I'm like friends with that are funny. And then like, be like, hey, I'm going to bring this guy with me. And they're like, okay, cool. And then now it's like, oh, okay, now that guy's headlining, he's bringing this guy with him. Now that guy's, it's like just being able to like, show other people like these little spots and shit like that.
Yeah.
So that's like been nice. But
you're the king of Northern California comedy.
Central California.
San
Joaquin Valley.
Hey.
It's me and Sal Trujillo.
San Luis Obispo.
yeah, I love San Luis Obispo.
Home of the tarantula.
The tarantula.
That's what I heard. I used to go.
The tarantula?
Yeah.
Like the spider?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Aren't there a lot of tarantulas? I heard. When I first moved here to make money before I got into the film business, I was a tarantula.
I was a tarantula. I'd go out on Runyon. I'd be creepy.
We'd have tarantula conventions in San Luis Obispo. We wouldn't take our costumes off, but we'd all just fuck in the lobby.
That's so cool.
No, I would build stages for like $10 an hour. We got driven up to San Luis Obispo, and we saw a tarantula, and somebody was like, "Oh, this is the tarantula capital of the world."
That's so funny.
And it stuck with me. Well, that's a amazing Comedy Store story. The fastest one that I've ever heard is Steve Fury's story, where he just drops in.
Oh yeah,
that's just ridiculous.
Steve, I love Steve.
He's insane. Very
funny. He's a very funny comedian.
Yes,
but he's also a very right place, right time.
Oh yeah.
But that's a lot of shit too. It's like right place, right time, cool guy.
Right.
And it's like you could be cool guy, right place, right time. I mean, even like a few weeks ago, right place, right time. There's so much, especially the Comedy Store, right place, right time is so much of that. Like 2 weeks ago, maybe not 2 weeks ago now, probably like a month ago. I go there to do a podcast on a Monday at like 4:30. So it's over at 5:30. Mm. I know my spot's not till like 8:30. I'd Ubered there because I didn't feel like parking, and my place isn't that far from there. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to just go home and come back. And I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'll hang out. Yeah. I'll do this. So I go. I'm like there. It's like 7:30. I like get a drink. I'm in the back talking to someone. I take like a hit of a joint. And I back in the day, I would smoke weed all the time before I went on stage. Now I can't do it. It makes me fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then I am there doing that, take a hit of a joint, have like 2 drinks, tiny buzz, nothing crazy, just hanging out. And then the GM comes by and he's like, hey, Emily, the booker. He's like, Emily's looking for you. And I was like, oh, fuck. And in my head, I'm like, God damn it. I was like, I don't know where or what. I was like, but I know I have to go up.
Yeah.
And this is like not great. But I'm like in the zone, whatever. And then they were doing like an industry showcase thing for Jessica Kirson. Like Billboard presents Jessica Kirson. And it was just like a whole industry thing. And then so she
Just nothing but suits.
And it's and it's a lot.
This half the room is Gersh. This half the room is CAA.
Dude, if you would have, because I walked into the where they were about to open the doors, or maybe they'd already opened the doors, and I looked at the ticket list, and it's just all guest list, and it's every fucking company you've ever heard, every channel, everything. Yeah. It's literally just everybody in the entire world.
Nothing but 3-letter acronyms.
Just constant. And so then she's like, hey, can you open the show? And I was like, jokingly, I was like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, duh. Of course. Because it's like, so then it was like me, Caroline Ray, Burr, and Curson. And it was like awesome. But then it was nice because did that. And then cause, my manager works for 3 Arts. And then Dave Becky's there. Mm-hmm. And so then after he's like, that was awesome. And I was like, okay. And then he's like gushing to the booker. He's like, that guy's great. And then my manager calls me the next day and he was like, hey, heard things are good. And I was like, if you're hearing things are good, then things are good. And it's like, that's just the right place, right time.
Yeah.
Shit. And it was so funny because I got that, and then I'm like standing in the corner in the back. I'm like, stop being high, quit. I'm like all but punching myself in the face to stop. And this guy, the guy who runs Comedy Store Records, Comedy Store Studios, like the podcasting and all the albums and specials and stuff, John Sosis, is a very funny guy. And he comes up to me and he's like, are you going up? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, and he could see on my face that I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I mean, it's like all industry. I was like, dude, shut up. Leave me alone. And I'm like walking in the green room. He's like, this could be like really big, or it could be really bad.
Don't
I was like,
up.
please stop talking to me, or I'll fucking kill myself.
Nice.
Yes. There's so much shit like that. That's all just like right place, right time type shit.
Yeah. Hanging out. That's what when I first got into the comedy thing. They're like, well, you just got to go to the Comedy Store and hang out. So I went there one time by myself, and I was like, okay. Here, where's the hangout spot? So I just assumed it was on the front patio.
Yeah.
So I got a drink, paid $95 for it, and I sat there, fucking recognized everybody.
Yeah, you're like, where Hollywood?
Yeah,
come and knock.
This is great. And then I think I talked to 1 or 2 people, and I was like, I don't want to sit here by myself anymore, and I just left.
Yeah. I mean, I used to hang there a lot, not too much, but I would hang there, and then once I knew I was in the running to get hired there, I would go there multiple nights a week. I would stand by the back door and talk to whoever was working there, usually Matt Lockwood, any of my friends.
Yeah.
Stand there until the booker walked by, and I'd be like, "Oh, what's up, man?" He'd be like, "What's up?" And I'd be like, "Okay." He's just walking by. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up?
Saw your face.
He saw my face. I'm out of here. Yeah. I know. I'm not going to sit here and fucking hang around.
You don't want to look desperate.
No.
You want to be present.
Yeah.
But not too
passing
present.
Through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just came out.
Because especially if you're in the running for something like that, or you're looking to get, which I do that shit at the Improv still, because Rita, who books the Improv, is great, and I love her, and we have a great relationship, and I'm cheating on Kelly with her, and
hilarious. I'm gonna clip it and send it to her.
But Stephen Herr, I put in avails, and then if I don't get something for 2 weeks, I'll just pop my head in and be like, hey, what's up? She's like, oh, dad, she's an older Sicilian woman. She's very loud. And she's like, Brucey, I gotta get you. And I'm like, yeah, totally, just let me know. And then I just pop in, pop out, show my face. I'm alive. I'm gone.
She throws me out of the Improv a lot.
Every night?
No.
Throws you out?
A lot would be, I would say, she's thrown me out twice.
In what way?
Because I photograph shows, mostly at the Laugh Factory and the Improv. So I'll just pop in. I'll talk to, if it's Mark and Friends or Theo and Friends or whatever, I'll just talk to that person. I don't talk to the club.
Yeah.
And one night Louis was there, running his new hour.
Yeah.
And they had already hired Liz for the night. And Liz doesn't give a shit if I shoot when she's getting paid.
She's
I'm shooting for free.
Yeah.
And then Rita just walks up. She's like, oh, honey, I can't have you here tonight. And I was like, oh, yeah, but I already, I talked to Mark. She was like, I don't give a fuck about Mark.
Yeah.
She's like, just, and I was like, oh, no problem. I'm out.
She is a very... very nice woman that will bring the hammer down, but in a very not in she's not gonna grab you by the ears and be like, you're a fucking idiot. She's just gonna be like, oh, I'm she's very she's good at very disarming, very motherly, and she's great, and she's it's funny too because I wasn't getting any spots there with the other booker, and she's nice, we friendly, whatever, nothing, and then I went there. I was Kelly was doing a spot, and I was like, I'm gonna go over there with you before I go do something else. And we get there, and she's in like a bad mood. I was like, hey, I was like, Ree, what's up? What's going on? And she's like, oh, well, you know, they had to let go of the other person. And on the way to this thing, I'm telling her, I was like, you know, I think I'm done trying to get into this place. I think I'm just, I'm over it. I just don't think it's worth my time. It's fine. I'm not like devastated about it. I'm doing fine elsewhere. Everything's okay. And go there. She's like, and I've had a great relationship with her. Like, she's given me a lot of spots even before, when like the spots she could give, I would get a lot of those. And then she was like, yeah, they had to, so I'm going to be booking the whole thing now. And it was like took every muscle in my face to be like, that's terrible.
Oh, sorry for all the extra work.
And then I literally left.
Inside, the wolves are like,
dude, it was, oh my God.
The whole pack's howling.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
Nice, dude.
No, it was,
I didn't know they let the other booker go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know how much maybe it was a mutual thing. I really have no idea. Yeah. I don't want to talk about people's business, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just knew I wasn't getting any spots that way. And so I was like, okay.
that improv feels difficult because it's the gate to all the other improvs.
Yeah.
Or it can be the gate.
Yes and no. It is. It's yes and no a little bit, where it's like there is a guy who is around there who is the gate to there, but it's like I wouldn't have gotten booked at it. I wouldn't have got into the system to host and feature at the other ones if it wasn't for. Same thing there. If it wasn't for the open mic there, I would have never gotten.
They're really good about actually grooming people from the open mic and letting them cold open the main room.
They're very good about that.
Yeah.
And that is a page taken from the Comedy Store book.
Yeah.
Because that was an Adam Egget thing, where before there was none of that. There was like really limited spots, and now every Comedy Store show, truly, I think almost any main room show, even if it's an independent produced show, and every Comedy Store show has a door guy on it. Cold opening.
Yeah.
Where they have the development spots, and that's for like everybody that like is around, and like they are like same thing, grooming for that. But all of them now have the 2 development spots plus a door guy thing on there.
That's awesome.
Which is like that Burr Kirsten thing, where it's like they would find a door guy. And then even like a few, like, I don't know how much time there is for a story like this, but I was told I was opening the Stanhope show whenever he was doing there. So I opened for him years ago in Bakersfield. So like I saw him and I was like, hey man, I was like, you don't remember this? I was like 19. I opened the opened for you in Bakersfield, and we got wasted. And he was like, oh yeah, the place, what fucking call, whatever.
Yeah.
And then so I get there, and Annie.
That was my try to do.
And I was told I was opening it, and then I knew Annie Lederman was featuring, so I was like, am I just bringing you up? And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, on the thing. She was like, oh, I think you found someone else to do it. And I like found another person. And I was like, okay, like that sucks, but it's not like the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
And then the sound guy comes up to me and he was like, hey, so I'm going to bring you up on this. And I was like, oh no, it's cool. They found somebody else. And he's like, what do you mean? And he was like, I don't know. They just told me they found someone else. It's like, no, I'm not fucking devastated. And then he's like, I'm going to talk to management. And I was like, you don't have to, but if you want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so then like the GM comes out, loud guy. He's like, bro, they said they found someone else. A door guy needs to go up on the show. And I was like, hey, I agree with the thing, but I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm going to talk to him. And I was like, if you really, really need to, you can do that. And so then he has the sound guy go get Doug's manager. They go into the office. I'm standing in the kitchen. They go in the office. They close the door. You don't hear anything, but it may as well have been a cartoon like Tasmanian devil hurricane going on in there, you know? Yeah. And so then he comes out. It's supposed to be a 5-minute spot, and he comes out, and he goes, and the manager walks off, and he goes, all right, 3 minutes on the thing. And I was like, okay. So I have to go in the green room, and I walk in, and I was just like, hey guys, sorry, I'm my bad. But it went well, whatever.
Wow.
But it was just like,
that's awkward.
Yeah, and it's like kind of same thing, right place, right time, but also like you're like happy that somebody is fighting for you, but you're also like, I don't want to be fought
when
for.
They take up your banner and like you're like, this isn't the hill I want to die on.
Yeah.
Like if it goes the wrong way, then it's like, well, that Bruce, man, he's real hard to work with.
Real pushy, and he fucking and it's like
demanding spots.
100%.
Oh, that's I'm glad it went your way.
Yeah,
that could go the other way.
It was very funny.
How do you feel about a lightning round?
Please.
We got 7 questions. Don't feel rushed.
Gotcha. How am I? I'll follow your lead.
Then some of them might have follow-up questions. Please. If you say something interesting.
I'm having a great time, and I don't have to do anything until 7 p.m. We could do an 8-hour podcast.
Okay. All I'm thinking about is the edit time.
I was like, you are my new best friend. I'm never leaving.
We're recording forever.
Yeah.
This thing won't run out of, let's see here. We got 7 hours of audio left and 7.5 hours of video left.
Yeah, dude. I'm going to be like one of those protesters, and I'm going to super glue my hand to your desk.
This is going to be like that ongoing series with Ryan Stickler and Joey Diaz where it's like 17 episodes long. I'll just cut this into different parts. But we'll do this, and then we'll just see how we feel. What's your favorite venue or club to perform at? That's an easy one, right?
Yes, the Comedy Store or the Well Comedy Club in Bakersfield.
Oh, the Well Comedy Club. The Well Comedy Club.
Also the Ice House Stage 2.
You know, I've never been to the Ice House, not even one time. Yeah.
They're supposed to be opening soon again. I know they're renovating like the whole thing. But everyone talks about the main room there, but I love the side room at the Ice House.
Ken Jeong did his special there.
Yeah. Dr. Ken.
Cool story.
Yeah.
I worked with him a couple times. He never remembers me.
Yeah.
And every time I try and talk to him, he's like, yeah, I got to go.
Yeah. He's a lot.
What is the weirdest thing you saw or did as a kid?
Weirdest thing I saw or did as a kid?
Yeah, like did you see some? We're looking for like a Stand By Me bodies on the train tracks.
Saw or did as a kid. There's actually a lot. I mean, where I grew up in Bakersfield and Greenfield.
Which you got to have some good stories.
Yeah. Weirdest thing I saw or did as a kid. So there's this guy who. So like on my street, there was this family that that we were friends with. Like we were friends with them. My mom was friend with the mom. All this stuff, and then the dad. I don't know if he always did or he just got into a little bit of the crystal. And this might be the most cruel. This is truly, I think, the cruelest, funniest thing. This is a little bit of a long story. Cruelest, funniest thing, because they would like. Remember one night they run down to our house and we're like sheltering them. And like
the dad,
yeah. but not he's I don't know I don't think he's like going crazy, but he's like on them. But he's like they're like explaining to me. I'm pretty young. They're explaining to me what happened. That he was like, you guys don't want me to fucking whatever. I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Oh, great!
And then he goes into the bathroom, and he shoots a gun, and then does a pratfall.
No. Get out of town. He's squirting ketchup under the door.
Shoots the gun. And then they like hear the thing and they're all like, oh God, Daddy's dead. Daddy's dead. So so my uncle lived next door and he had this big yard and my dad had built a bike jump in the my dad and my uncle built like his bike jump for me and my cousins in the backyard. And then so they put the mom's car in this backyard. And it's like a big rectangle backyard with chain link fence, and it's back there, and we're in the house, and you just start hearing like you hear a big crash, and then you start hearing it just sounds like a fucking demolition derby back there. And so he had gone in there and hooked up chains from the front of his truck to the car, and he's just reversing and just dragging the car fucking
wow.
And then I remember vividly. It's dark, but you could see lights. And I just remember vividly that he hits it. The chain's not very long, and he drags it in such an angle, like you know when you're on a tube behind a boat.
Yeah.
And he like drags it in such an angle, and it just fucking right through the bike jump. And I was like, no, not the. I was like, this family is falling apart. This is all this crazy shit's happening.
Not my bike jump.
I was like, not my bike jump. Like, I just being like so fucking mad.
You should have killed yourself.
Yeah, I was like, why didn't you do it? Like just my bike jump. I was just devastated because it was. I mean, I've showed people it's a fucking hellhole, but we would fucking rip. There's an alley. We'd open these gates. Start out at this fucking Tweaker Mart. Where they sold fucking oil burners and glass roses and shit.
Come on down to Tweaker Market.
It's called the Hello Market. If you want to look up the Hello Market in Bakersfield, California, it is a fucking hellhole. And so we'd fucking rip out of there through the parking lot, through the gate, fucking hit the jump, crash, all this shit. But that's got to be up there, I think.
Yeah. That's so far.
Yeah. I also saw my baseball coach smack an umpire. That was something.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like mafia style. Give him a little slap.
Big guy. And like real Greenfield Baseball.
Let me fucking tell you something.
GBA, Greenfield Baseball Association. That was that place too, Greenfield. Because I was pretty pretty good at baseball especially when I was a kid. But that was the first time, which I think is a thing that is good, and it happens to every athlete at least one point. But that was the first time that I ever we were playing out there, and it was mostly me and Latino kids, and a team I remember specifically called Monet.
Wow.
Purple and black jerseys, white trim on the pants.
Fancy.
Black kids came through and beat the fuck out of us.
Just
And we were good. Like we were like local area. Like,
good for the whites.
Good for the whites and the Mexican kids. And
Yeah.
we were together, and we were like, we're fucking with the shit. We got our jerseys are pimped out. We're fucking hyped. And these kids came in, and it was the first time I ever saw anybody throwing the ball around. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever you strike, they would strike us out, then they would throw it down at first. And I saw it in the major leagues, and as soon as I saw that with the first batter, I was like, oh, this is like bad.
Yeah.
And they fucking rocked our world.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good lesson to whenever inner city kids come in.
100%.
Inner city kids coming out to the country and just rocking our fucking world.
Oh, I lived on the north side of Raleigh, which is I wasn't fancy growing up, but it was the fancier side of town, and we redistricted our entire county so that everybody could split up the inner city, so everybody could have some football players. It was nuts. But Bert Kreischer was just talking about the first time his daughter on his podcast this week. First time his daughter's softball team played like Silver Lake or Echo Park, and they did a force the error. It was like 22-0. It was just
my dad, big character, former like professional bull rider, like real.
I thought you were going to say Navy SEAL.
No, not even close. But he was a big force the air guy. He was a big slide head first into home and touch the back corner of the plate guy, and we were kids. He taught us how to do pickoff. He taught us force the air. As soon as we were able to lead off in Little League, take a fucking 15-foot lead off at third base, the pitcher's going to freak out and throw it to third. And as soon as he throws it to third, and we won like 3 seasons in a row. I think we lost one game the entire time. And it was because
everybody else is playing polite ball.
Polite ball, and him and his buddy Mike, who's my friend James's dad, are like drinking and like smoking cigars in the dugout, and like it was.
Why else would you have children?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, I see some of these soft kids now. It's like, what are you going to be when you grow up?
Yeah, dude, it was hardcore.
Yeah,
but my dad, I was telling him about this. There was a kid named Anthony on my team. He was a Mexican kid. He was a real fat kid. And he could hit the ball really hard, but he was very slow.
He better hit it hard.
The way my dad would talk to us all like adults, and he would curse and all this. And some of the parents were like, "What the fuck?" But all of the kids were like having the best time of their life because we're winning, we're doing this. But he hit it, and I remember this vividly. He hit it, and it was to the fence, and he was coming around first base. And my dad would always call him Milk Dud. And he'd be like, "Milk Dud, let's go, Milk Dud, come on. You got to unhitch that trailer, Milk Dud, let's go." And like legit, like this fat kid's like trying to fucking go. Unhitch the trailer, Milk Dud is really burned into my memory.
Yeah, I bet Milk Dud learned how to hit dingers real fast.
Oh, dude. And it was so fun because, some of the parents were like, huh? But all the kids were so hyped because they're like, this guy rocks, is hilarious, and we're winning.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was great.
That's insane. I love all those stories.
Yeah.
I had a coach like that. I played soccer. I didn't play baseball growing up, but my soccer coach ended up becoming a state senator for North Carolina.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And then it was like, oh, he cheated. Like if we were behind when we were 12, he'd put a 14-year-old in there.
Love it.
And we would score. Yeah. Okay, come on out.
Do you remember that Little League World Series guy where they brought in that 15-year-old Danny Almonte? Oh, man. There's a good 30 for 30 on Danny Almonte. Dude, he was lights out. And that's probably the funnest time he ever had. Imagine being like 14, 15.
Playing against 11.
And just fucking
rockets.
Man. Because I played with a few kids who ended up playing either MLB or NFL.
Was he a pitcher?
Yeah. And
was he throwing like 75, 80?
Yeah. And then they do like the calculation. And it's like 109 in MLB. But there's a year, and it's like in between 7th and 8th grade usually, I think, is whenever, maybe 6th and 7th grade, is whenever they move the mound from 45 feet to 60 feet.
Yeah.
So they bring it back 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And
that makes a big difference.
There's a kid right now who I don't know if he's still on the Panthers or not. Jared Norris, great guy, linebacker in the NFL. He was on my team, and he hit puberty at the perfect time to the point where it was right before that 15-foot switch, and he was throwing the ball so fucking hard that like kids would be crying coming up to the plate because they didn't want to stand there.
Yeah.
They're
scared.
They're terrified.
Yeah.
Because he's throwing so hard.
I don't even like to go in the batting cage where the ball goes in the exact same spot every time. That's more than like 65, 70.
No,
that shit hits the back mat.
Yeah, it was. I stopped playing baseball when I was a sophomore in high school, and there was a few guys that I would play against that were really bringing it, and I was like, this is fucking sucks.
The fact that people can hit a baseball.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's mathematically, like Mythbusters broke it down with high-speed cameras one time. It's like you have less than the time it takes you to blink your eye to decide whether or not you're going to swing the bat.
And in those guys' worlds, it's all the time in the world. It's in those guys' eyes, it's all the time in the world.
Yeah. That's
nutty.
It's so crazy. Have you ever seen a UFO or a ghost?
Definitely not a UFO.
No UFOs in Bakersfield?
No, I don't. I think they skip over it.
Yeah.
They're out in Mojave doing all their weird shit.
Yeah.
You ever drive through there, like Mojave, going to Vegas?
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking spooky out there, dude.
Yeah.
They do like nuclear testing and like some weird shit out there. But
have you ever seen any of the old footage from when people would go to Old Vegas in the 60s because they were doing a nuclear test?
No.
People would stay up all night
Yeah.
and they would launch the nukes at like, or drop a nuke at like 6 in the morning or 5 right before sunrise. And everybody would have been up all night and they all walk out to the edge of the fence because nothing was out. There was just all Fremont Street.
Yeah.
And then.
That's sick.
And then you could.
Yeah. That's like in Bakersfield that happened. They were doing a demolition of a building. You could look this up too. They're doing a demolition of an old PG Pacific Gas and Electric plant. Mm. So a bunch of people came out across the street. They were in this Lowe's parking lot, and it's like far away. It's really not close. And there's video of it on YouTube too. And they demolished the thing. And they hit it. A bunch of people came out, and a fucking piece of the thing flies across the road and fucking rips a dude's leg off.
Wow,
wild. And that's what Brian Vokey always tells me, that I give the best, worst tour of Bakersfield, because I'm like, oh, that Lowe's parking lot, that's where a dude got his leg ripped. Oh, that Denny. Hey, my dad saw a cop shoot a guy at that Denny's one time. Like,
most people are like, you can get really good tacos over here.
No, he's like, you have to film this because it's crazy. Because I'm like, oh, that Denny's. My dad saw a guy attack a cop car with a hammer and get shot there.
I am 100% down. Take me up on this whenever you want to. We will hop in the car. I will bring all my camera gear
to film the Bakersfield tour.
Bakersfield tour.
It'd be so fun.
And we'll chop it up.
And I was gonna do. I didn't have time to do it. I was gonna, because Tom Papa and Fortune Feimster were doing a thing from the Comedy Store. I think it was like a spooky story thing. Yeah. It was yesterday, but I was
live podcast.
I don't think. No.
They have that show together.
Yeah, they're doing it in the studio. Mm-hmm. But then like people were coming on, and that's what people say a lot about the Comedy Store is like they've seen weird shit, and I don't know how much I buy into all of it. Yeah. It is fucking spooky. Like, there's a lot of times where they'll close down one of the rooms completely pitch black and, like, I'll have to go grab something. And it's definitely fucking eerie. Mm. And I've never seen a ghost or anything there, but the very weird thing happened recently that I don't know how to put it in any other words other than it's fucking weird and spooky. Is that this guy came in and wanted to park in the lot. And you have to be a paid regular to park in the parking lot. And he's like, oh, I'm a paid regular. And nobody knows who this guy is. Literally, like, nobody working, none of the comedians there. The manager, GM, he's like, I've been here 20 plus years. I've never seen this guy in my entire life. Yeah. And then finally he like gets Chris Spencer. Do you know this older comic works a lot with Kevin Hart? Yeah. He's like, no, I remember that guy. Mitzi would put him up on the thing.
He must have been old as shit.
He was like, he was in his 50s at least. He's like, Mitzi would put that guy.
Could he point to his name on the wall?
I don't know if his name was on the wall. And then on the website they list all the paid regulars, and I don't think he was on there. Wow. But Chris Spencer's like, he's not going to lie for some random guy. He's like, no, I remember that guy. That he would do that. I think one other guy did too. And I've never heard of this guy. Nobody had. And then there's a plane. You're close, dude.
That's a tractor trailer on the 101.
Oh, okay. I was like, God damn, that's fine.
They land on the roof.
I was like, where are we?
But definitely not in a soundproof studio.
But we were so then there, and then like 2 hours later, I'm grabbing somebody bought a shirt. So I'm grabbing a shirt, and I don't know if you know the layout as much of the Comedy Store, of like where the merch is. Yeah. But it's like behind closed doors, and nobody's just walking back there unless it's like a big comedian trying to cut through to not get seen by the crowd. Yeah. And so
that's through the front main room lobby.
The front main room lobby where you if you aren't even in the know, you don't even know that the counter opens up like a door and you could walk through it. Right. So back there, and then I looking for the shirt, and then I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to the back part, very very back. But in the little phones room in there's a drawer with the keys for the back thing. So then I go in there, open the drawer, and it's just like a million old papers and old lineups and bullshit. Like, it's not organized at all. And so I go in there and I grab the keys, and there's a stack of paper, and then like on the the headshots on the wall, how they have the picture, and then there's a white strip, and then there's the name. Yeah. And then underneath these papers, there's a stack of papers, and only thing that's sticking out at the very, very bottom of this is the white strip of paper, and has that guy's name on it.
Wow.
And so I was like, what the fuck? And so I move those papers, and I pull up a dusty headshot. And it's that guy.
No. I thought you were going to say he was in the back room where he
No, truly, and that's what I told somebody that, and they were like, "What, did he go back there?" I was like, "Dude," I was like, nobody was back there."
That's insane.
And it's like I don't, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm not like a fucking.
Yeah.
Ooh, I saw a fucking World War II
Yeah.
ghost. Like I don't like Revolutionary War guy.
And you Google him and he's actually dead.
Yeah, and then truly never saw him before, never saw him since. And that's just, it's not like me seeing a ghost or like whatever, but it is.
It's a hell of a coincidence.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's very fucking weird.
Yeah. That's a good story.
It's spooky.
Yeah.
It really, and I brought the headshot to the office and I was like, telling them, I was like, so you've never seen that guy before? He's like, no. And I was like, explain to him, and I was like, and in the drawer, this fucking head. And they're like, and then
you got to tell
like,
that around a campfire with a flashlight.
Yeah, they're like, literally, I told one of the managers, like, get that thing out of here. He's like, get that away from
Go
me.
burn it.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced a natural disaster?
Natural disaster.
Hurricane, tornado, fire, flood.
In Bakersfield, it just gets really hot. The weirdest thing similar to that is I was in Yellowstone in 2020, summer 2020, and we're deep out in this valley, and it's just like a storm just like comes in. It's like crushing rain, all this shit, lightning, thunder, and I've never seen it like this. We just pull over, we're in the car, like we're just like, well, let's wait this out for a second because it's like 2-lane roads. It's like kind of sketchy, and then a fucking lightning is like crazy lightning like throughout the sky, and then lightning starts going like sky to ground lightning, and like not only are you seeing it close, but every time it's, you know, like when you're that like thunder and lightning hitting at the exact same time, that's happening, but every time it hits, it's like like you like legitimately like feel it in your fucking body when it's hitting. And I was like, God damn, this is a fucking lot. And we're out there in like a fucking bison herd on the side of the road, like
not under a bridge.
No, I mean we're in the car.
Yeah,
but like we're just like we gotta just chill. It was a lot.
That's sky to ground lightning, man. That'll get you.
It was, and it's like there's not really that like crazy shit like Bakersfield like that. And like I've literally lived here, Bakersfield, and like Portland, and like snow up there, like whatever. But that was like the most extreme shit. Because it was like just like a rolling storm that just rolled in out of nowhere.
Comes in, the raindrops are that
crazy
big.
Hail starts hitting. I'm like, fuck, I hope this isn't like damaging the car. And then the ground to floor lightning, and it's just like bam, 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 and it's like all around. Like we're like in the middle of it, and it's like
it's funny to me when you say like sky to ground lightning because that's all we had growing up.
So yeah, out here. It's like
on the plains, it's like sky to sky lightning, or when you're flying, you see it just like spider web out.
And like you see it, but I've never been like seeing it. It was like having nosebleed seats versus having like front row tickets to a fucking thing.
Have you ever been like close to something when it got hit by lightning?
No.
I've seen trees just get.
Yeah, I've seen videos of it, and it's pretty hardcore.
It's nuts because you're just looking at something, and then there's a big flash of light, and then all of a sudden that thing's fucked. Yeah. What is your favorite vacation destination?
Favorite vacation destination.
I could guess based off of Kelly's answers, but I don't know if you agree with her or not.
What did she say?
She said cold weather. She likes cold weather.
She does like cold weather. I had a very good time in New Orleans. I wouldn't say that. That's good. Oh, man, this is a good question, actually.
It's tough for people who travel, especially travel for work, because you're like, everywhere kind of looks the same a little bit.
Does look the same. Honestly, I would say probably... Well, it's a very white trash answer, but Pismo Beach. Okay. And it's not like this isn't like a destination vacation thing, because it's like, especially when you travel, it's like you're not like going on as much as like vacation, but like that's the place that I would go to as a kid all the time. Like that was like the Bakersfield vacation destination.
Yeah.
So I think being there, there's a few bars I really like there. There's a few restaurants I really like there, and it's like a very nostalgic, like this is where I came as a kid. So like being there is like I really, really like being there. It's like outside. Do you know where that is, Pismo?
Oh, yeah.
It's literally a white trash beach.
That's the home of the Taco Bell on the beach, right?
Possibly. It's like right outside San Luis Obispo. I'm trying to think.
That's not
Taco
Bell. My friend Nick is yelling at me right now. He's like, that's not where that fucking Taco Bell is.
And it's a very funny because that is a very much a very white trash answer. But it's also like, I feel like, especially when you're traveling as a comedian, it's like you like kind of get free little vacations here and there. So you're like, so if I'm like going to pay money and go somewhere out of town, that's usually my spot.
That's cool. Is there a vacation destination that money's no object and you haven't been there yet? Like somewhere on the calendar, like Maui or like south of France?
Probably Paris.
Okay.
If I had to, I would like Paris, Tokyo.
Yeah.
Like that. Haven't been over there.
You like French people on purpose?
I don't mind. I have a few friends who are French and I don't mind them.
Really?
They're not. Oh. It is. That's like the lowest compliment you could ever give somebody. I do not mind them. No, but it's like I think,
can tolerate the French.
Yeah, I think, and it's like I think I'm a fucking like espresso snob. I really like coffee and like that type of shit and like different food and whatever else and sushi and all like that Japanese culture. That type.
Let's just let the record show that Bruce is the first one to decline a Starbucks.
I was the first one to decline a Starbucks. This made me laugh too because usually if I'm going to do a podcast, I usually stop by my place, get,
it's not going to be a Starbucks, is it?
It is. No, it's not even that I'm like a snob when I'm like Starbucks. I would never, because it's like I drank fucking Starbucks yesterday, and it's like I think maybe I'm like more a ritualistic person where I'm like, I'm going to do a podcast, I want to be on when I get there.
Yeah.
Like, not like I walk in here, I'm like, hey, what's up? Look at your nuts.
Right.
Like,
not cracked out.
Yeah, I'm not like
ready to go.
Sack tapping you. I'm like, oh, we're bros. Like I usually I'm like, I'm going to go get a Americano, extra shot. I want to drink it on the way. I want to do this. But it did make me laugh very hard because Monterey, the one who organizes it, great person, friend of mine, slept in a bed with my mother this weekend.
Monterey slept in a bed with your mom
in a very platonic way. We just
thanks for clarifying that.
No, we were fucking.
I gotta go question the guest producer of this show about her sexual preferences.
So
Monterey's a motherfucker.
Yes, I had a show in Ventura on the same night Kelly was doing Oxnard with Jesselnick, and Monterey came up to see Kelly. So like I went to my show, and then me and my mom. We're planning on going to the late show. Then Monterey joins on. And my mom, she's a great time. Yeah. So we go out, do this, go out drinking. And Monterey is like, oh, like nothing like she's like wasted or anything. But she's like, I'm fine. I'm just going to drive back. And my mom's like, no, you can just come stay with us. And in my head, I'm like, there's 2 beds. I was like, I'll share the bed with my mom. I whatever.
It's very kind of you.
And then they'll do that. And then we get there and they're like, it's fine. Who cares? We're drinking. And then now she's coming to Thanksgiving.
That's just part of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
But also she texted me. She's like, what's your Starbucks order? And I was like, oh, it's all good. Like, I'll grab something on the way. And then she goes, are you sure it's complimentary? And I wanted to be like, you think the fucking $3 is what? You think that I'm like, no, the $3, that's going to change everything.
No, my head was like, I hand you your coffee and I'm like, that's.
Yeah, no.
Can you hit me?
Yeah,
here's my Venmo.
Yeah, I was like, you think that the $3 is what's changing my mind here? Are you fucking crazy? I almost texted her that, but I was like, I don't know how this will read over text. I don't know if the tone will be the right tone. It made me laugh so fucking hard.
But it is something that you got to think about, like, right? Because everybody's on a different financial spectrum, right? Mm-hmm. So we've had millionaires in here, and we've had people that are on the come up and live in their van, right? So, like, some people could be like, oh, no, thanks.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll, or it could, this is one thing that I hate, and I'm not talking about anybody specific that's been on this show, but if you're at a bar and you meet a new buddy, you're like vibing out over sports or whatever, you're like, let me buy you a beer. And they change what is in their hand to like the $15 version.
Yeah,
like,
oh, double 1942.
And they'll say it too. They're like, well, if you're buying, then I'll have some Pappy. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I said, you're holding a Bud Light. The offer extends to what you have in your hand.
Offer extends to Bud Light. Oh. Yeah. That's so funny. That's why you just don't buy anything for anybody.
No, I buy stuff. Well, I mean, for my core 5 friends and my girlfriend, that's it.
Yeah. I'm a guy too where I will buy things out of convenience and be like, oh, we'll figure it out. You Venmo me. And then I forget to. And I'm like,
right.
I spent $500 the other night. And I'm like, I should probably get that money back. And I just forget. Like I produced a podcast for somebody, like helped somebody out that wasn't there, I think in June. And I have forgot to send the invoice we are in November.
Wow.
And so I still need to send that invoice.
Yeah.
I'm a very forgetful person when it comes to things like that.
Yeah. If it's a business and I have to invoice them, sometimes it takes me like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if I had done this 3 weeks ago, I'd be opening the check right now.
Yeah.
But I'm fucking rich.
Yeah.
So
we're in the fucking.
Look at all this.
What was the? Okay, I was like, how did this question stem? And it was because I said I like espresso.
Yeah, and then we started making fun of the complimentary thing. Fortunately, if Monterey watches the show, she doesn't get 94 minutes into it.
So. 94?
Yeah. So we can. But she definitely changed the course of my show, and I'm
No, she's great.
so thankful
She's
to be working with
great.
her. She's so amazing.
She's a very interesting person. The spirituality stuff can laugh at herself about those things.
Yeah, it clips well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. We touched on this earlier, so let's do like the speed round version of this question. But do you like Vegas? We touched on it like right out of the gate.
I do. I like Vegas if I like Vegas if I'm there for work.
Yeah.
I think I had a great time last time I was there. I had a very good time, but I don't. If I do go, I'm kind of this way with anybody. If I do go anywhere with anybody, I really do like planning and like different things, and so I know what I want to do when I arrive somewhere.
Yeah.
And I hate when people are like, well, let's feel it out and go do this. And I'm like, I don't like write a whole itinerary, but I'm like, I know I want to go do this, go do that, and eventually go do the other thing.
Yeah.
But I like Vegas.
It's a wanderer's town.
I love drinking and I love gambling and I love eating. So it's like there's really nothing to.
What's not to love? Yeah.
And so it's that, but it's when things are taken care of for me in that aspect of like, here's your hotel, here's your fucking this, be here at this time, and you have the other time to do whatever. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I had a great time. I was there in May and I had a really, really good time.
I'm the opposite. I hate working there because we'll do like 12 to 14-hour days.
Oh, gotcha.
And then to wind down, of course, you're going to go have a drink, you can gamble a little bit, and that 6-hour sleep window turns into a 4-hour sleep window, and then you're there.
Yeah. So that's what's nice. Whenever I'm there and I'm working, I have usually 15 to 25 minutes of required work, which is very nice.
And even when you get to, let's say, Carrot Top's level, you work for an hour, maybe an hour and a half a day.
Yeah.
Did Carrot Top have an opener?
He did have an opener.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was fine,
Yeah.
It's a smartphone. I think it's a dumb phone.
What's the deal with school buses?
It's a smart car. It's a dumb car. It's
one of those guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
Here's the last question. It doesn't mean it's over, but this is the last of the lightning round. What is the best meal you've ever had in your whole life?
Best meal I've ever had in my entire life was.
This one stumps a lot of people.
This is a hard one.
Because people either go something that was cooked for them by either themselves or a family member, or they try and go best restaurant they've ever eaten at.
I think it'd have to be best restaurant. This is the type of question where it's almost kind of the same way I feel about tarot cards, where it's like if you do a tarot card reading, this will all come back. Yeah. Tarot card, I don't think there's anything supernatural to a tarot card. I think it's a good therapeutic thing to do. Mm-hmm. So if I pull this out and I'm like, oh, this card means this, the first thing that pops into your mind, that's what is bothering you about that certain aspect. It's not like a supernatural thing, like they're not predicting the thing. It's whatever pops into your mind first. Okay. And the first things that are popping into my mind are, I'd have to Google the name, but it was an Italian restaurant in Seattle where it was everything fucking handmade to the thing. Mm-hmm. So handmade pasta I got, just truly unbelievable. Maybe like a Parappa del Pasta. I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it was so fucking good. So unbelievable. We got like 2 of those things. They had 5 different kinds of house-made bread.
Wow.
So I'm trying everything.
Yeah.
And then they had on the wall multiple plaques from like different literally the World Prosciutto Organization. That was like, I'm not even fucking around.
I didn't know there was one.
Neither did I. Yeah. I did not know that there was a fucking WPO. Yeah. But they apparently there is. And so on there, they have like these plaques that are like certifying them as like legit next level, like big time prosciutto thing. And so we got like that, and it was just unfucking believable.
Air thin.
Just truly unbelievable.
My first gut was to ask you how the plaque tasted, but I had to the plaques they got.
Yeah. That's such a fucking hard question. Because it's like, it's one of those things where you're like bouncing back and forth between like the best meal or my favorite restaurants.
Yeah. And sometimes they're the same.
Yes. And it's
not a lot.
Man, I really, I'm trying to.
Because one of my best meals was the first time I went to my favorite restaurant. Yeah. Because of the experience.
What is your favorite restaurant?
It's the SW Steakhouse in Vegas at the Wynn.
Okay. Is that the one that has like the beach inside of it? Kind of like a lake?
It's got a lake.
I've heard that's very
and there's a water fountain, and they changed the show every 6 months. And the last time we were there, we were sitting out there. It was like me and my 2 business partners, and like Troy Aikman's next to us with his friends.
Yeah.
We're like, what's up, Troy? And he's like, I got you, dog.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you get it like right at twilight and the sun is setting and the food is amazing, it's the first place I learned fine dining. And
yeah. I'm trying to really push and try to remember because it's like my favorite restaurants. I think maybe my 2 favorite restaurants, if I had to like put it down, there's this place in Portland called Huber's. Mm-hmm. It might be possibly the oldest restaurant in Oregon. But it's like this old fucking place. It's like all wood. It's like they do these Spanish coffees where they fucking light it on fire and pour it from a million feet away. And it's awesome. But it's literally like such an old school place that the food you're eating there is like legitimately like Thanksgiving food.
Right, from last year.
Yeah, no, but it's like
it's so old. The food's old.
That's so all the food is fucked up and moldy, and they're cutting mold off of it. But it's like really,
Portland's oldest restaurant.
It's just an interesting place because it's like there's nowhere else that you get that. It's like everything is so good and like all this like different, like they have steaks and stuff too, and it's good and it's crazy. Or there's also in near I can't remember where it's called. Where it's at exactly. It's in like Central Coast, like outside San Luis Obispo, near. I can't remember exactly where it is. It's killing me, but it's called Jocks, and it's a steakhouse that I believe is owned by the cattle rancher, and so they get their steaks from like down the street. And the steaks are ugly, like they're not cut beautifully.
They don't look like they do in the store.
Not at all, and it's like just unbelievable.
Right, because they're hacking it with a machete in the back.
It's legit, like from Outback to it's really fucking good.
Yeah, I also just ate at Terry Black's in Austin last weekend.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the shit.
And they're so smart because they sell everything by the pound and they cut it right in front of you. And they're like, "How many pounds of brisket do you want?" You're like, "I have 4." And they're like, "But it's $30 a pound." And all of a sudden you spend $400. And you're like, "How am I going to eat all this?"
When you go to barbecue, you forget about what weights of anything are. And you're like, I want a quarter pound of this. And
we don't do quarter pound.
Okay,
pounds only. Yeah. But the best deal going, if you got more than 2, even if you have 2 people, get the family meal because it's going to have all the sides. You can try a little bit of the sides. It's going to have all the meats.
Yeah.
And it's like $150, $200, or you're going to spend $100 a guy or person per person.
Yeah.
Non-gender specific food eaters.
I also, very last thing, I had a really, really good meal in San Antonio a few months ago at this place called like the Hoppy Buddha or something like that. And it was like, literally didn't even look it up. It was the closest thing. Like, we just got into town. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Go to this place, and it was unreal. So fucking good.
Yeah. I'm still chasing the best steak I ever had, which was when I think I was like 22 or 23. My birthday's in October, and I would drive to the mountains where we would sit at this restaurant, and it overlooked the Blue Ridge Parkway, and all the leaves are changing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was like the first good steak I ever had.
That possibly.
But it had like a ton of fat in it, and it was just perfect. And I've been chasing that steak around the world.
Yeah. Never going to get it. It's a feeling.
And by around the world, I mean like the southeastern part of the United States. But I'm out. I'm out of questions, and I'm out of water. I'm dying of thirst and hydration.
Fuck yeah.
But I could talk to you for...
No, this has been a very good time.
Fucking
having
awesome.
a great time.
I've been looking forward to this for a very long time, and you didn't disappoint. What a storyteller. I can't wait to clip the shit out of this.
Awesome.
I'll start now. I might be done with it by January.
Please.
Let's plug everything you got one more time.
Bag Fries Podcast. Fat Jocks Podcast. BruceKComedy.com. Up next every Wednesday at the Comedy Store at 10:30.
Did you say Bad Friends Podcast?
Bag Fries.
Are you Bobby Lee?
I am Bobby.
You just go... Yeah, I'm Bobby Lee the whole time.
Yeah. Like, yee!
Nice. Bruce, thank you for coming.
Yeah, this is awesome. I've had a great time.
And we'll see you next time on whatever my name is. Like and subscribe and do all that influencer shit. It helps the show. And if you're just listening on audio, consider watching it on YouTube. It's way more fun to see our faces. We'll see you next time.